There are days in history that pass quietly, and there are days that never end. Ashura is one of them. The 10th of Muharram did not just mark a tragedy. It marked a cosmic shift, a moment that time itself could not digest. The sun rose, but it did not move with its usual rhythm. Eyewitnesses in Karbala said it was as if the sky was holding its breath. The shadows didn't shift as they should. The light didn't behave the way it usually does, as if the universe knew. Something sacred was being shattered. It is said that on the day of Ashura, time hesitated. A narration from old travelers says that the Euphrates, the river that flowed so boldly every day, seemed to hesitate near the battlefield. The water, which denied the thirsty lips of Imam Hussein and his family, was reported to have become stormy that evening, as if it too was ashamed of its silence. And Persia recorded an unnatural red sky on the 10th of Muharram. In secrecy, scholars tested them. The reports tell of an unexplained crimson tint appearing every Ashura, only to fade after. Not all believe it. Not because they know the story, but because the story still echoes in their blood. Because grief that pure doesn't die. It lingers in the veins of the believers. But not all can explain it either. His unbreakable resolve, even as everything was taken from him. One by one. Brother, son, nephew, friend. And still he never bent. Some say that is why earthquakes have occurred on Ashura in different parts of the world. Tiny, barely measurable, but always recorded. Coincidence or memory? They didn't know why, but they wrote of it. It's what didn't. Hussein could have fought for power. He didn't. He could have fled. He didn't. He could have been silent, but he stood and spoke, knowing it would cost everything. And somehow, that loss became the loudest victory in Islamic memory. A red hue that lingered long after sunset. Some thought it was an omen. We know it was grief. But it didn't just return. It screamed. The kind of scream that has no sound, only shock. Some narrations say it dropped to its knees in front of Zainab, as if seeking forgiveness, and it never rose again. Here's a fact most people never hear. In the centuries after Karbala, observers from different cultures, including non-Muslim historians in Byzantium, there are ancient collections of soil from Karbala Turba that are said to turn red on this day. In Madinah, the night came too soon. And in unseen realms where angels gather, there was silence. The kind that only follows unbearable loss. A Persian poet once wrote, "On the day of Ashura, the world aged 1,000 years in one breath." That's what Karbala did. It didn't just break hearts, it broke time itself. It wasn't only the battlefield that mourned. The city of Kufa, animals cried and paced their cages. Zuljana, the horse of Imam Hussein, returned to the camp without its rider. Here's something deeper. In certain regions, when Ashura arrives, children sleep restlessly. On this day the earth trembled once, and every year since, it remembers. But the greatest unknown of Ashura is not what happened. No angel interrupted. No miracle stopped the swords, because the miracle was his stance. Ashura is not a tale of loss. It is a tale of purpose so strong, even death couldn't defeat it. And today, centuries later, ask yourself, why does the name of Hussein still burn brighter than the empire that tried to silence him? Because truth does not need to win, it only needs to stand. Ashura is not history, it is a mirror. It asks us, who would you be on the 10th of Muharram? The one who stood, or the one who watched? Subscribe to Parvaz Legacy for the truths to unravel, and so that you know the forgotten events of Islam.